Welcome back to Explore.
I know you won't fail us.
Today we are looking at the top games in the Call of Duty series. Call of Duty is an iconic first-person shooter game franchise that has been going strong since 2003. That is nearly 20 years ago now. Its game started off covering World War II, but over the many installments since, they have ventured into more modern and futuristic settings too. But with there now being 18 main titles in the Call of Duty series, we have wondered if there was someone who wanted to jump into this title for the first time today, and the age of the game was really unimportant to them, how would they be ranked? Well, let's have a look at that. So for our list today, we are going to look at the top 5 games of the series. Now for our list, we have taken a bit of personal preference into it, but we've also taken into consideration online ratings and reviews. So although this is our top 5, we have hopefully got enough of a general consensus of an internet top 5 as well. So now that that is out of the way, let's jump into it. So firstly, at number 5, we will look at the 2017 release of Call of Duty World War II. At the time of release, it may have seemed strange for the franchise to go back and revisit the Second World War after so many releases had focused on more futuristic warfare, with Infinite Warfare, the release before this one, even taking a trip into space. But it turns out it was a good idea. A lot of people wanted a reset of the franchise and for it all to go back to its roots. So in a way, it more or less acted like a reboot and a reset for the series, and like I said, so many people thought this was necessary. Although the single player campaign is not the strongest in a narrative sense for the first part, when it does get into its full flow, those big set piece moments, they're really hit with great effect. The highlight of this game, like with much of the franchise, is of course the multiplayer mode. Without all of the high-tech gadgets and, well, spacey stuff that had been on the previous ones, we kind of go back to a much purer expression of what an online shooter should be, or at least what it first came to be and what everyone grew to love and become so addicted to. They took away the drones and satellites, and so the action and gameplay focuses so much more on reactions and your spatial awareness, and therefore it just feels a bit more rewarding for it. Now moving on, at number 4, Call of Duty Black Ops 4. This 2017 release was actually the first entry to get rid of a single player campaign entirely, which could definitely split the opinions of fans. I mean, I for one hate when there's no single player campaign. However, Black Ops 4 makes up for it with a brilliantly varied multiplayer mode. This game took inspiration to create a brand new mode for the series, the Battle Royale mode, and they called this Blackout. It mixes COD's hyper-polished action with the tension and excitement of the Battle Royale genre. It brings together a huge map that stitches together other classic past maps into one sprawling experience. But the base competitive multiplayer was the best it had been in years really with this release. It stripped things back from what Black Ops 3 was and enhanced it with tactical tweaks such as the manual healing and boasting a brilliant spread of widely different modes. It has an absolutely stuffed with content zombie mode to round things off as well, which includes some time traveling chaos. This is one of the series' richest offerings and so one of the best in the series, coming in at number 4. Now, into our top 3, we have a game that people thought would struggle to surpass its predecessor before it came out, and that is the 2009 release of Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. The single player ups the scale of the spectacle without sacrificing any of the pacing, while the multiplayer introduces the greatest tiny map of all time, or at least in my opinion, and that is Rust. But that does not mean it was the perfect game. It introduced the tactical nuke kill streak, and there was no sign of a Russian mission in the campaign, which is why, at least for me, it cannot climb higher than the number 3 spot. But at this point in the list, I do really have to be a bit more nitpicky to separate the entries. But nonetheless, this entry does contain some of the most iconic moments of the series, like Storm in the Gulag for example, so all in all, a great game. We are now up to our top 2. And the game taking the silver medal and coming in just short of the top spot is Call of Duty Black Ops. And this one came out back in 2010. This game can really hotly be debated that it is the developer's best in the series, with a storyline that is tons of fun and multiplayer modes that actually add some worthwhile new game types to the mix. This is where they introduced the gun game, which many of you are going to know what this is, but if you're not, this is where every kill you get means you unlock a new and different weapon. The Cold War setting was actually a bit of a gamble, but looking back, turns out it was perfect for COD, with the moral murkiness that has the capability to really shock in places. And along with that, the music choice just gives it a flavour that none of the other games really have been able to replicate. You could definitely say it is unlucky to miss out on our top spot. Now, before we reveal our number one, I feel an honourable mention is worth adding. In the year 2005, Call of Duty 2 was released, and it is widely considered today the greatest World War II shooter of all time. And while this was the first sequel game that debuted on the Xbox 360, is really considered charming old school now, it still establishes what makes the series just so captivating. A wonderful campaign that uses multiple characters, and the tension of the multiplayer, especially in the one life per round search and destroy mode. The standard of the series increased time and time again throughout the series, but this one was just amazing for its time, so that doesn't mean it is not worth seeking out at all. So although the datedness of this one does come into effect a bit, we just couldn't leave it out completely. So now we have reached number one on our list. And did you really expect something different? It is 2007's Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. It really was a series highlight. It was revolutionary at its time of release and is nothing short of a pure classic now. This is the game that set that future standard that every new game since has tried to measure up to. The multiplayer, especially on consoles, has to be the main reason why. That alluring mix of compulsive unlocks, the brilliant map design and powerful feedback means that there are many players still going strong on there today. And then there's the campaign, bursting with unforgettable missions. Think of the likes of Death from Above and All Gillied Up, just to name a couple. It is the best war story the series has ever told. We were even fortunate enough to be given a 2016 remaster, and this gave the game a timely visual update that makes it just as crisp as the other more modern releases. So, in my opinion, and from what I could tell from most of the internet, if you only ever play one Call of Duty, make sure it is Modern Warfare. And so there we have it, our top 5 entries in the Call of Duty franchise. And with us coming to an end of this list, I have to ask you, would your list be any different? Do you think a different game deserves to be on top? Or is there actually one that I've missed out of the top 5 completely that really deserved to be in there? Or perhaps there's an honourable mention that deserved a shout as well. Let me know all your thoughts on this in the comments below. And now that you have reached the end of the video, I really hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please drop a like on the video and the subscribe button too, along with that bell icon, as these are the things that really help out the channel. So thank you if you have managed to stay with me until the very end of this video, and we will see you next time on Explore.